Hello, hello, my friends. AmyR here with Prairie Paper and Ink. Welcome back to my face and my card making space. Unboxing and card making video using the Simon Says stamp February 2025 card kit. It arrived. Disclaimer, the kits do get sent to me earlier than the customers. I'm on the Simon Says stamp design team. However, with the delays from the postal strike and all the things are getting to me later than usual, but it got here. And this is a special one because they partnered with Tim Holtz for this set. And there's a bunch of Tim Holtz ephemera because I've seen a few sneaks and heard some things before it got here. So I'll unbox the kit and then I'll figure out what I'm going to make. Like I said, I have a rough idea, not exactly sure. And I will always have links, like always, to the kit. There's subscription options, etc., 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 along with everything I use to end up making whatever card or two I decide to make. So those will be in the description box below the video. My links are affiliate links. That just means that if you click on one of my links and end up placing an order, I get a little kickback from that at no extra cost to you. It is what helps pay the bills, keeps my heaters running, enables me to keep bringing out content. Okay. Let us go down to this camera. Ooh, ignore that little thingy because, as usual, all of my technology is just being wonky, but whatevs. Okay, here is the kit. Here's the kit in a nutshell. Woo. So, we'll get to that in a second. We have, and of course, everything. There we go. Ooh, there's more in there. Okay, this is the Distressed Vintage Notes kit. Oh, I really just roughed it all up when I pulled it out of there, didn't I? Okay, let's get to all the little elements. That. So, the key part of, well, all the kits really, the stamp set. This is the Vintage Love Notes stamp set, and this is where they partnered with Tim Holtz because this coordinates and matches a lot of the artwork in this ephemera pack, which I'll show in a second. So you've got a big 6x8 stamp set. This is really pretty. There is a coordinating die set available. I don't have it. It is an add-on. So there is a coordinating die set that you can purchase for this, and I'll have a link to it below. So there's the stamp set. There's the Pinnacle Hearts embossing folder. And as of filming this, I just did a video using this embossing folder. So really fun. There, that shows it better. Love. It's got the embossing folder. You get 3 distress watercolor pencils, and they'll be like random colors. I love my distress watercolor pencils. If I remember, I'll post in the end screen at the very end of the video my playlist of all the videos I've done so far using distress watercolor pencils. So I like when I get extras in the kit because then I can always feel like, ooh, I can use these for whatever. Like really muck them up, really get grungy with them, and not worry about keeping them pristine. So there's that. You get Simon Says stamp, VersaFine Clair, Nocturne ink pad. I have used this and shown this in a bajillion videos. This is one of my go-to inks for watercoloring if you want really crisp black sentiments. This does take a little longer to dry because it's a pigment ink. So a lot of times I heat emboss with this. So stamp, pour over clear embossing powder, and then we're good to go. Love this. So now I've got an extra one. Love. Ephemera. You get a whole pack of the, is it just called Palette? I think it's called Palette. Yes, Palette ephemera. There is a lot in here. I don't know if it even, 136 pieces. There's a lot. I'm not going to like spread out all of it. Also, because that'll just distract me and I won't get anything done. But you get just so much ephemera. So much ephemera. So that's cute. All kinds. You got florals and graphics and like postage type things and books. Like there's a lot in here to play with. Yeah. Oh, there's so much. Oh, they're pretty. Okay. Like I said, I didn't want to start going through because I'm going to get distracted. So there's lots and lots and lots to play with. And I'm kind of really excited that they partnered to have the stamp set to kind of go with it, because that just works. It just works. So you get a whole stack of ephemera and candy. Candy. Can't go wrong with candy. There's a bottle of Collage Medium Matte, which is pretty cool. I don't work with this very often. The thing to remember with Collage Medium is it dries insanely quickly, which is a good thing. You just need to be aware of that. Like, don't be putting it down and then going off and doing something else. It's like, no, you do immediately. This dries really quickly. So for me, in my super dry climate and working in the garage, I just find it almost dries too fast for me to really work with. But I have I think a tub of it. So having the bottle is kind of nice. So yeah, it dries quick, and you can brush it on. Tim has shown in his videos, there's a lot of ways you can use this, and you can even like tint it and do different things with it. But yeah. So gluing, layering, and sealing. Yeah, because you can brush it on and like seal things with it. It will leave brush marks though. It does not like self-level or anything like that, but you get a bottle of it to play with. So that's cool. You get a sheet of foam squares, always. I just add them to my stash because I use these like a crazy person. Pre-scored cards. I think there's like 10 in this. Yeah. 10 Schoolhouse Red A2 side fold cards. Sweet. Watercolor cardstock, cotton candy cardstock, and a cotton candy envelope. So that is the kit. Just double checking on my little piece of paper here. That is the kit in a nutshell. There's the add-on die set. There is also another stamp. I was going to say small stamp set, but I think from the looks of it online, like the stamp is actually quite big. But there is another stamp and die that goes very well with this. That is also, I would call like an add-on. I will also link to that below because, yeah, it just looks like it all should go together. And as of filming this right now, I have no idea what I'm going to make. But if you just keep watching with the magic of video editing, I will splice it together and I'll have a card project for you guys. So yeah, I will see you guys in a few seconds and we'll see what I make. See? Magic. Things only came together that quickly in real life. Anyway, I took cotton candy cardstock, which I love, always, and I cut it in half and then cut it in half again. So I've got two A2 size panels, so 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. And I am going to run these through my die cut machine with the embossing folder, the Pinnacle Hearts embossing folder. And for my Anna Griffin machine and the Simon Says Stamp 3D embossing folders, I just need one cutting plate and the embossing folder. And sometimes I mist my cardstock with water, sometimes I don't. I generally now only bother to mist it if it's a really intricate, like heavily detailed design. This one's close to it in the sense of how much it presses like the hearts in, but it was fine. It was fine. So after I embossed them, I flipped them over. So I'm working on the back. So the hearts are like pressed into the cardstock. And I am just rubbing Distress Oxide ink. So this first one is Lumberjack Plaid. And I'm not aiming for like perfect coverage at all. I'm just swiping it on this cardstock. This is fun. I need to do this one more often. Like just do color cardstock with an embossing folder and then a different color of like Oxide ink or pigment ink. It's easy. And I don't know. I like the contrast. So for funsies, the second one I did picked raspberry. Just a different, just gives it a different look. So worked my way back and forth. And as the title of this video says, I worked with the ephemera, which a lot of you that, have watched me consistently for many years know I kind of deserve a pat on the back. I do. I hoard. I have so many packs of Tim Holtz ephemera and other brands. I like to buy it And then I open it and I spread it all out and I play with it a little bit and then I put it all back in the package, and I am a professional curator of like ephemera and pattern paper. And then I have a hard time using it, but I used it this time, you know. There's nothing wrong with collecting it, but sometimes it's also fun. And like I was saying, there's a ridiculous amount just in that one pack. Like, I didn't even make a dent for how much I used. Did not even make a dent in that package. It's kind of fun. And as I was digging through it, I was getting more ideas. I need more hours in the day. See, I'm still digging through it. Like, I'd kind of figured out roughly what I was doing on these two cards. And then I started digging through just to find some more pieces. And then I was like, ooh, I like that piece. And oh, look at that one. And oh, it doesn't end. But it's fun. And then I found a couple more pieces to use on these cards. So it's going very much like mixed media. I'm going to like tear things and rough up the edges. I pulled out just my black soot distress ink. This is just regular distress ink, not Oxide. I don't think it doesn't matter really. And I used a blending foam and I just went around the edges of everything. The embossed cardstock, all the little ephemera pieces with this black ink. I wasn't like blending it, you know, around the edges. I was just basically kind of coating the edges with that black ink, and a little bit will get on the actual piece, and that's good. It just kind of helps give everything that little bit of like separation, because when you start layering a bunch of pieces together, some of it kind of just blends into each other. So I just went along. I used another one of the little stamps from the set and just like stamped that onto one of the little pieces. The sentiments I stamped with a Nocturne ink. This piece, literally, I was like tearing it and curling it. Trust me, it can be fun. Sometimes you just gotta like stop overthinking things. Even me, and I say this to myself. Stop overthinking it. Seriously, especially with things like ephemera. You know what? Have fun with it. Get grungy with it. Rip it on purpose. It's almost like cathartic. It's like once it's torn and wrinkled up, it's like, there you go. Great. You know, slap it down, adhere it on, and grab another piece. So I pulled this is a little seam binding ribbon from my stash, and I did a mix of adhering the ephemera with just glue, as well as some of it I'm going to pop up. I've got some Big Mama foam tape here that's going to pop up a couple of these little pieces. So I'd added my ribbon. I'm going to add my other pieces and just create a card front. You know, it's fun, really. And again, I didn't even make a dent. There's so much ephemera to play with. So I showed mostly this one. I show all of it for the most part on camera. And then the other one I'll get to. The other thing I did that I couldn't film because I need to find a way to make it possible for me to film. I've talked about this before because my camera aims straight down, is using my sewing machine. It's another thing I've been, hoping to incorporate a little more because I've got my little sewing machine and I quite enjoy using that on my cards. I don't sew on fabric. That sewing machine is literally just for sewing on cards. And I don't do anything special. I've talked about this before. I don't have any special settings. I just use what it came with is all I do. So after I had adhered everything, on this one, I sew just on like the top right, like the right corner and then the lower left corner. I just kind of went around. I didn't go around the entire card front, and I just kind of went back and forth. Straight stitches. I'm going to add some little zigzag stitches, things like that. And that's all I did. And I leave the threads out, especially when you're getting mucky and tearing things. I like the threads hanging out everything. On this one, I sewed this piece and the other little ephemera piece directly to the card. I didn't use any glue. I just sewed it to the card. And same thing. I just went around, didn't even attempt to keep anything straight, just sewed it. It's fun. So once I had this one sewn into place, all the other little bits, I'm going to do the exact same thing, just adhere with a mix of just glue and foam tape. So sticking little pieces together, tucking little pieces in here and there, just having fun with it. I don't know, it's freeing in its way to mix like ephemera and stamps and all the things. And I will be revisiting the ephemera, the stamp set, all of it. I had more ideas than I had time for, and this was just a good little like kind of dipping my toes in the water sort of a thing with this kit. So after I had adhered all my pieces, of course we're going to add splatter. So I pulled out my white gouache first, put a little bit of that on my palette. I've got my card front in my splat box to help, protect my work surface. And then I add a little bit of water to the gouache just to thin it down a bit. And then my little fan brush, and then I splatter. And it just adds that little extra something. So I'm going to do that to both of these cards with the white gouache. And then I'm going to add a little bit of black splatter with some black gouache, just 'cause. So add in the splatter and then clean off the brush, and then I'll do the exact same thing with the black gouache. You can also do this with like distress paint. I've shown that in a ton of videos. I used to always use like picket fence distress paint and black soot distress paint. Both the black soot distress paint and this gouache are very, very pigmented, very, very black. And they both produce like really good results for splatter, because black can sometimes be finicky. I don't like using like black inks for splatter, things like that, but the gouache, love, or black soot distress paint. But with both of those, just make sure to clean your brush and wipe off your palette, whatever you're using, immediately, because permanence, staining, all the things. So after I had done all the splatter, I had let that dry. And then on the inside of the card, I used the music notes stamp from the set. I didn't even stick it on a block. I just stamped it with my hands. I've been seeing a lot of makers do that more. They do it more with like the red rubber on cling foam stamps, like in art journals, things like that. Like just picking it up and just stamping it randomly. And it's another thing that I'm just like, oh, I like that. I like the unevenness of it. So that's what I did with I used the picked raspberry and stamped that on the insides of both my cards. And then the flower stamp from the same set, I stamped that with the Lumberjack Plaid. And then I stamped another one of the sentiments with the Nocturne ink. And both of my cards are top folding A2 white note cards, so 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches. And after I had stamped the insides, I'm going to adhere the card fronts to the card bases with craft tacky glue. And I'll just stick my big acrylic blocks on top just to hold everything down. And then as like a final bit of embellishment, I talked about this in my live, because I'm doing the voiceover now after I did my live stream. And I wanted my heart. There were specific heart embellishments. Could I find them? No. Am I going to find them during my Halloween makes? Probably. I don't know where they went, but I'll link to them so you guys see what I mean. They'll be linked at the end of the supply list. Could not find them. So instead, I'm using these just rainbow gem stickers, the red ones and the pink ones, because why not? So they're self-adhesive. So I just peeled off some of them and stuck them onto each of these cards. So these work too. They're great, and you get a whole bunch of different colors, and pink and red. Can't go wrong with that. So I know I'll find those heart ones somewhere ridiculous, as always. Those little safe places we have in our craft areas that just is a black hole, and we find things at the most random times. But anyway, I still like these little gem stickers. They're cute. Just a little subtle bit of bling. So that finished off the cards. Like I said in the intro, I have links to all the things in the description box below the video, so you can check that out below if you are interested. I'll have other videos linked. I'll link my embossing folder playlist as well in the end screen. There's like over 100 videos in that playlist, because I've used a lot of embossing folders over the years. They're fun. So I'll have links to all the things below, video links at the end. As always, thank you all so very much for hanging out with me, for thumbs upping and commenting. I appreciate it a ton. It helps a lot. Subscribe if you haven't. I'd love to have you. And I'll see you all very soon in the next one. Bye. Thank you so much to my amazing Patreon supporters. For anyone that might be interested in joining my Patreon community and supporting me, the link to my Patreon is in the description box below the video. For everyone else, as always, thank you all so much for taking the time to watch my videos, for thumbs upping, commenting, subscribe if you haven't. I'd love to have you. And here's a couple other videos for you to check out in case you missed them. Bye!